face-off that day is at 80 million views. So if there was a pre-existing injury, somebody would have noticed it. He was limping, put his shoes on, he ran right at him. I don't think there was. Anything is possible, but he sure didn't look like it. And for 80 million just on my accounts, that number's got to be massive. Nobody noticed anything, so there you go.
You know, the minute you start talking or thinking about retiring, you absolutely positively should. I haven't heard that from him yet, but you know, he hasn't spoke publicly yet. We'll see what he has to say.
And if he comes out and says, look, I want to run it back, would you guys be open to that?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this whole thing plays out. There's a lot of unanswered questions right now that will play out over the next several days, and that's why I don't come into these things and start, you know, talking about the future or anything. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen tonight, tomorrow, and you know, Monday, and then we'll get back in the office on Tuesday, and it's not even worth talking about right now.
Dana White has spoken, and now the biggest question in MMA isn't who won at UFC 329. It's whether Conor McGregor has just fought his last fight. After another devastating injury cut his comeback short, the entire MMA world immediately turned its attention towards McGregor's future. Joe Rogan has broken down exactly how the injury happened. UFC fighters have shared their reactions, and fans are already split over what comes next for one of the biggest stars the sport has ever produced.
The first time I thought he just slipped. It's hard to tell. It's wild. It's in the moment. I thought he slipped. And then when he got up and he threw a kick again, I'm like, oh, I don't like how his leg just gave out. That didn't seem like... And I'm still hoping he's just slipping.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's just freaking out because he hasn't been in the octagon in 5 years. And then he started moving around and he like grabbed his knee and buckled.
Okay.
And there was some conversation.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there was some conversation going on between him and Max Holloway, and I was like, you know, Max is saying he can't fight, like something's wrong, and he's saying, fight me. He's like, get up, and so he lets him up, and then his knee buckles, and then the referee stops the fight.
Conor McGregor surfacing online, and it was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to Conor, 38 years young. Here he is with his wife, Dee, seemingly in good spirits.
Happy birthday.
We'll be back.
It matches your outfit even.
We'll be back. Come on.
It's okay.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. We'll be back. Let's go. Let's go. I know.
Here we go. He seems to be in good spirits. He seems to be happy. He says that he is going to be back, which is probably the most, the most important nugget of it all there. He seems to be grounded. Who knows? It's a 30-second video. I saw some people breaking down, whether or not this means it's this kind of injury, that kind of injury, including our pal Dr. Suterer, who said this on Twitter when he saw the video. Lack of brace, assuming he didn't just take it off for the video, means no high-grade collateral ligament injury, MCL/LCL, means nothing about ACL and meniscus. Range of motion being at least 90 degrees of flexion and looking relatively comfortable is good. How he took all that away from that video, I have no idea, but that's because he's probably way smarter than you and I.
Dana White was one of the first people forced to address the situation, describing how disappointing it was to see such a massive event end so abruptly. It wasn't just frustrating for the UFC, it was frustrating for the fighters, the fans, and for McGregor himself, after dedicating so much time to making this comeback happen. But as the days passed, the discussion quickly moved beyond the injury itself and towards something much bigger. Can Conor McGregor realistically come back again? That's where the debate really begins. Some fans believe this changes absolutely nothing. They argue McGregor has overcome setbacks throughout his career and has repeatedly found ways to prove people wrong. To them, this is simply another obstacle that he'll attack with the same mentality that turned him into the biggest star the UFC has ever produced. Others aren't so convinced. Many believe another lengthy rehabilitation at this stage of his career raises serious questions about how many elite performances McGregor still has left.
I'll exchange with him and he'd shoot in. What's happened? Oh my God, McGregor's done already. Well, he's finished. The new boy is in town. The main man's here. Know what I mean? I can become the face of the organisation now. But yeah, great. What a performance from me. Don't want to blow smoke up my own ass, but what a performance.
As I said on Monday, I really do believe he's going to fight again. And I believe the mindset around the team right now is, all right, we talked about obstacles, we talked about overcoming obstacles. This is another one, and we're going to try to overcome it. And so I don't think, look, you never know what can happen, but I don't think in his mind that was his last fight. I don't think he wants it to be his last fight. And I think, you know, he's going to have probably surgery and then recovery and then come back and give it a go. The question, whenever, and we don't have to deliberate this for the next freaking 365 days, but who would they book him against? You know, you see people saying Chandler. If I had a vote, it would be Chandler. 1,000% it would be Chandler. If I had a vote, I don't think it will be Chandler, especially if it's his last fight going into free agency. They're just not going to do it. A year from now, Chandler's older. God knows what he'll do between now and then. It just ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. I could see the Holloway one, but I could also see some people feeling like, we just went through that. Thanks, but no thanks. The whole landscape could be different between now and then. But I think he wants to fulfill that last deal, and then I think he wants to test free agency. As of right now, we don't know the extent of the injury. Hopefully we'll get more word on that. They're keeping their lips pretty tight at the moment. And I can understand that, but it was good to get some kind of update.
After years away from competition, another major injury means even more time on the sidelines, and naturally that has sparked plenty of discussion about whether this could change the UFC's plans moving forward. Another talking point that's been circulating online is whether McGregor could have been dealing with discomfort before the fight. Those discussions have spread quickly across social media, but it's important to remember they're fan speculation, not established fact. McGregor himself has rejected that idea completely, insisting he entered the octagon healthy and that the injury came completely out of nowhere. Joe Rogan also offered his own breakdown of the sequence that ended the fight. Rather than pointing towards some dramatic mystery, Rogan explained how the awkward kick combined with the way McGregor planted and twisted on the leg appeared to create the perfect conditions for such a devastating injury. Sometimes in mixed martial arts, one split second is all it takes to completely change a fight and even a career. The reactions from around the UFC were almost immediate. Jon Jones reflected on how quickly everything can change inside the octagon and how unforgiving this sport can be.
The fans are annoyed. He probably just wants to get out of there straight away, doesn't he?
I thought he was just slipping. He just wants to get out. Mate, I've injured my knee in there. It's horrible.
It is what it is. I bet you when he ran into that kick, he probably broke his shit. Well, those guys just made the easiest paycheck of their lives.
All right, so let down in Sin City last night. So much expectation didn't come to fruition. It's early in the morning, so I'm heading back to the Bay. It's like somebody broke into my house on Christmas morning and took my gift. I discussed that and more in my live reaction from Octagon side. UFC 329 was a great night, but the main event, that sucked. 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific at my YouTube channel. Don't miss it.
Tom Aspinall spoke about the brutal reality of injuries after spending months preparing for a single night. Paddy Pimblett admitted it was heartbreaking to see such a highly anticipated comeback end before fans truly got to see what McGregor had to offer. Alexander Volkanovski echoed how unpredictable MMA can be, while other fighters expressed sympathy for both competitors after such an abrupt ending. Perhaps the biggest frustration is that almost nobody is talking about the fight itself. Instead, everyone is asking the same questions. What would have happened if the injury never occurred? Could McGregor have sustained that aggressive start? Would Holloway's pace eventually have taken over? Or were fans about to witness one of the greatest comeback performances in UFC history? Unfortunately, we'll never know. Now attention shifts entirely towards McGregor's recovery and what comes next. If the rehabilitation goes well, does the UFC immediately give him another opportunity? Does a rematch with Max Holloway become the obvious choice?
So he throws the kick. Again, I know you'll be saying I'm reading a lot into this in the comments, but just look, boom, and then it's like a little stumble back. Like, it's not conclusive proof that there was anything wrong, but it's not McGregor at 100% either. Like, that doesn't look great. And then the third time he throws it on the footage, boom, and then he walks away. So we don't actually see McGregor in full flow, like kick, 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 like hammering the pads or... It's almost like, and I'm not saying that this is the case because it's hard to know, when they needed their footage, he's like, all right, let me do the kick I'm going to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, potentially that's possible. Because this kick and then him walking off doesn't prove he was fine to me. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, he threw the kick on the pads. Aye, and then he walked away immediately. Like, he did 3. It's very possible that there was a tear that was bad enough to not be able to win a fight, but that he was still able to pretend for a minute. Very possible. Fighters have done this for time, by the way.
The man weak in the knees, I guess, so... You know, all jokes aside, I just hope he's good, you know. I know Conor been battling some stuff. Looked like he really been changing. You know, he found God. He had his kids in there. So, you know, during the fight, you could obviously tell his demeanor changed, you know. And I was, you know, shout out to the ref. I was trying to tell the ref sooner, you know. Like, this guy's kids is front row, you know. I don't want to see him take unnecessary damage.
Or does McGregor decide that after everything he's achieved in this sport, the time has finally come to walk away? Whatever happens, one thing is certain. Conor McGregor's comeback may have lasted only moments, but the fallout has become one of the biggest stories the UFC has seen all year. Between Dana White's response, Joe Rogan's analysis, the reactions from fighters across the roster, and the endless debate among fans, the conversation is far from over. And until McGregor makes his next move, the entire MMA world will be watching.